Hey guys, so a couple of review questions that you guys had. First one was from Tyler, and he was asking what's going to be the best carbohydrate source that a swimmer can use to help replenish their glycogen when they're going through and doing their meets. Well, first and foremost, the goal there is always to use whatever works well for those athletes. Meaning, if they're successful with something, stick with it. If they're having issues with GI tolerance and otherwise, then remove it. When in doubt, you're looking for a simple carbohydrate supply since they're going to be in those competitions. So this could be where you decide to make some less than optimal decisions and maybe just, well, they're trying to swim, so why not just have them eat a lot of Swedish fish? I'm not being that sarcastic. Seriously, your candy, otherwise, your sweets, that's going to give them a pretty fast recovery. They could always just pay the higher dollars and get the goo blocks, which don't taste as good, but they also have more electrolytes that will help with replenishment. So pros and cons to all things, but in all reality, you don't have to go super expensive. They can maybe just eat an apple, bananas, oranges, whatever happens to be available to them. They don't have to spend that much money on it. But the key is figure out what those athletes seemingly handle well. So if they're getting GI distress, they're having cramping, anything along those lines, stop whatever they're trying, try something new. So kind of go through that, experiment with it. But in all reality, fruit, candy, that's going to give you a real fast recovery of glucose whenever they're going through and doing the exercising. If they want to go more high dollar, they can look at something like AmeliaCell, which is a carbohydrate replacement beverage based upon, correctly, it's a form of cornstarch that's going to be a little bit more slowly digested. That way they're going to have a consistent increase and then holding on to that level of their blood glucose. So the next question I had was from Morgan, and that was talking about different aspects of lactate, specifically what type of energy system is going to have a better clearance thereof. So the first and foremost is any aerobic system, specifically aerobic glycolytic, aka burning carbs with oxygen available, or beta oxidation are both going to be two really good opportunities for the body to help clear out that lactate. That's why active recovery is going to be useful to help those athletes get ready for future rounds. Now that's going to be very much so depending on how well trained that athlete is. So that active recovery for someone that's pretty big and is not in very good condition might simply be walking at a very slow speed. Meanwhile, you've got a really well conditioned aerobic athlete, their active recovery might be them actually going for a legitimate jog, borderline run. So the idea there for clearance is you want the body to utilize this lactate as fuel. And it's only going to utilize this as fuel to be fully broken down in an aerobic environment. So if you're getting them to burn more calories because they're moving at a faster rate than if they're just standing around at rest, that's going to help get those levels back down. But if they're going at such a rate that they're now starting to produce more of these, well, we're not going to be able to clear it more. Okay? So keep that in mind with giving recommendations for those athletes to try to do that recovery in between bouts. Next we have, well, how is it used? Well, it turns out that you've got a couple different opportunities. As soon as that lactate is being produced by your muscles, option A is it's then going to be broken down or further, well, back into pyruvate and then to acetyl-CoA and then be broken down aerobically in the adjacent slow twitch muscle fibers that have oxygen available. Now, if that doesn't happen, it's going in your bloodstream. Once it's in your bloodstream, it's going everywhere in your body. So now it can go to any single slow twitch muscle fiber, anywhere in your body. Your heart likes to use lactate as fuel. Your brain can use lactate as fuel. But we obviously need to make sure that we get enough oxygen going in the area, and obviously there's demand for energy to be used in that area. So it is a fuel source. Remember, at the end of the day, it's a fuel source, but it's that in proton that's being released with it. That's the problem, because now we're dropping our